Hello there, and a very warm welcome from the France Buying Guide on this beautiful sunny day here in the Languedoc-Roussillon. Well, this week it's all about property. We've got some great information on our website about how estate agents work in France, and here I'm just going to briefly mention the buying process. This is actually, I think, much clearer, safer, and more straightforward than it is in the UK. But here's a few things that you need to bear in mind. When you go to an agent, you'll often be asked to sign what is called a bon de visite. This is quite normal practice in France, and it simply means that should you make an offer, you will go through that agent rather than go to another or approach the vendor privately. You can make an offer just as you would in the UK, and often you can take, about 10% off. Be guided by your agent. Many properties in France are on their books for longer than they are in the UK, so you can strike a bargain very often. Once you do agree on a price, a compromis de vente will be drawn up. That's equivalent to our exchange of contracts, and it's very important to get this absolutely correctly worded. Once it's signed, the buyer has 7 days cooling off period. The actual person who's selling the property is committed, so you're quite safe there. You've got 7 day cooling off period as the buyer, and at that point, when you do agree the 7 days is finished, you have to pay 10% of the agreed purchase price. It's important to get into the compromis de vente anything you need to, which are called clauses suspensives. These are anything to do with something that, for example, a mortgage or something you might want to have planning permission for something. It just makes sure that you get that worded correctly, because if something isn't met by one of the clauses, then the sale won't go through. So you need to give that some thought, and our advice is always to employ the services of a bilingual solicitor, which we can help you with here. After that, the searches are carried out by the notaire, land registry, rights to ownership, boundaries, and so forth. Pay a visit to your local mairie at this point. You might want to find out if any recent planning applications exist, or you can ask your agent to do that. They should do that for you too. As I say, on the signature of the compromis de vente, 10% is payable. At this stage or before, you'd be wise to contact one of our chaps here at Smart. You need to have Smart on your side as a good currency provider, because you will get a far better rate than any bank. It's important to realise, very important with property especially, that fluctuations in currency can well affect your purchase price. Smart will explain this to you, and if you wish, you'll be able to take advantage of a forward contract so that you know exactly how much you'll be in for when you complete. The last act is called the acte de vente, similar to our completion. As a rule, it takes about 2 to 3 months to get to this stage, and the act is normally signed in a notaire's office, and the buyer must then, of course, pay the balance of the purchase price. You'll find that the notaire's fees will include an estimation of the two taxes you have to pay in France, something like our council tax. They're called taxe d'habitation and taxe foncière. These should have been documented as well in the compromis. And after the sale of the property has been lodged with the French government, then the exact amount of taxes is worked out, and the purchaser will either then receive an amount back, or possibly have to pay an amount when it's actually been properly worked out. So that's it really. It's not a difficult process. It just needs to be followed properly, and you do need, in my view, advice from somebody who speaks the language, but not only that, who's conversant with French law. So I leave you on this beautiful sunny September day. Do keep your questions and comments coming in. I'd be delighted to cover any topic you'd like me to here. Over the coming weeks, I'm going to be covering different areas of France, so you get an idea of what might suit you in terms of your own lifestyle. So watch out for that. I wish you good health, and I'll speak to you next week. Bye-bye.